Pleasure.
Well, here is the latest version of the lie being told about Donald Trump's failing economy by Donald Trump and his White House team.
Thanks to President Trump and Republicans and common sense policies across the board, our country is safer, our country is more affordable.
USA Today reports in a survey of 1,075 consumers in June, 30% of respondents said they used a credit card to pay for essentials such as groceries, gas, utilities, or medical bills in the past 3 months, knowing they may not pay off their bill. In his latest column for the New York Times, Nicholas Kristof traveled the country to discuss the economy and found, quote, many of us are blind to how many people have been left far behind. So far behind that they scarcely inhabit the same country as the rest of us. And this pain across America is now magnified by President Trump's cuts in food stamps, Medicaid, mental health funding for children, pregnancy prevention initiatives, and other social programs, as well as by rising gas and food prices. I visited the home of LaToya Foster, 31, a single mother with 6 children who has lost food stamps. Without food stamps, Foster now is behind in her rent, $650 a month for a 3-bedroom home in a crime-ridden neighborhood, and accumulating a $25 a day late fee on top of the rent owed. I hit rock bottom daily, she told me. The more I work, the harder stuff gets. And then she broke down and wept. Joining us now is Nicholas Kristof, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and columnist for the New York Times. Nick, I know you have traveled the world, traveled to the poorest places in this world, seeing people struggle. Now you're bringing that eye to the United States and what's going on here. And Donald Trump would simply call it all lies, that this suffering just doesn't exist.
Yeah. You know, I think that there are a lot of policymakers who inhabit this bubble in which the price of gas doesn't much matter, in which cutting 1.5 million kids off of food stamps over the last year doesn't matter so much. But when you go in that other world, this other America, boy, the pain is already intense and it's getting worse. And, you know, and there's this myth about the undeserving poor. And, you know, there is no doubt that there are many poor people who make bad choices, just as there are many rich people who make bad choices. But the woman you just mentioned, LaToya Foster, you know, this is a woman who is working for $13 an hour as a shift manager at Taco Bell. She's trying to earn a college degree so she can be a teacher as well. She's raising her kids. She's really trying to do everything right. And all of a sudden, her food stamps were taken away, on which she and her kids completely rely. And so she can't pay rent. And so they're at risk of being homeless. And it's just, you know, everywhere I went on this 1,000-mile road trip, Lawrence, I ran into stories like this. It just broke my heart.
When you just use that phrase, the other America, as I'm sure you know, that's the title of Michael Harrington's book on American poverty that he wrote just at the beginning of the Kennedy presidency in 1960. President Kennedy read that book, and it changed the government's approach to this. It was the beginning of the war on poverty. President Kennedy went to some of those places that Michael Harrington wrote about. It now seems impossible that your writing in the New York Times would bring anyone certainly from Republican side of our politics in Washington, anyone in the Trump administration, to visit that other America now.
And one of the things that I admired about Michael Harrington's Other America was his focus on kids and the importance of supporting kids. And it seems as if right now we're doing the opposite, you know, that we are taking away food stamps from children. So I talked to a teacher who was describing how kids are hungry at school. We're abandoning adolescent pregnancy prevention programs, which means it's more likely that there will be teen pregnancy with complications for both mother and child. Head Start is being, $12 billion was withheld from it, apparently illegally, and now it appears to be in the process of being transformed so that it won't serve needy children. And this, boy, Lawrence, it's hard to overstate the desperation that this serves. And in Oklahoma City, I talked to a woman. You know what her total assets were? She had $3.78 in her checking account. She had 1 penny in her savings account to keep it alive, and 6 pennies in her piggy bank. And that was her total assets. She sells blood plasma to have an income.
And you quote her saying to people like Donald Trump, "You do not know what you're doing to people who are struggling to live. You got money in the bank. You don't know how it feels to struggle. Live in my shoes for one day. You wouldn't be able to handle it." And everyone knows that Donald Trump would not be able to handle it. But he couldn't live in a more different world than that woman is suffering through tonight.
And I think, it's not only Trump. I think, frankly, a lot of us don't understand those kinds of choices that they make. She has food stamps. She fears they're going to be cut off now, but she can't use those to buy toilet paper, to buy feminine hygiene products. And so she's desperately scrounging to get toilet paper. She cuts her own hair. And for a long time, she was living in a place for reduced rent with a landlord who insisted on having sex with her. And she had to, make this terrible choice about homelessness or coercive sex. And I think that there are just so many folks around the country who are being pushed into really difficult, impossible positions because of these benefit cuts that are taking place across the country right now.
Nicholas Kristof, thank you for your invaluable reporting on The Other America, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Glad to be with you.